Are you cruising on the Carnival Glory ship out of Port Canaveral, Florida? Hey, it's Ryan, and today I'm going to give you a tour of everything the ship has to offer. This is not an ad, but simply an honest review of my Carnival cruise to the Bahamas. I'll share everything you need to know about the 22-year-old ship, the room I stayed in, the ports this ship visits, and a full breakdown of every cost on my trip. Was it worth it? Let's go on a journey to find out. My cruise is departing out of Port Canaveral, Florida, just miles from Cape Canaveral, the launch site for every American space mission to orbit or beyond that has ever lifted off from US soil. If you're lucky, you might catch sight of a rocket on the launch pad, or even better, a launch itself. The 4-night journey to the Bahamas is on the Carnival Glory, one of 5 Conquest-class ships, so the onboard experience and offerings of the Glory will be similar to these other ships in the fleet. It was christened in 2003 by Dr. Sally Ride, the first American woman in space. Since '03, it has been through a few renovations and upgrades, but it's still 22 years old. Today, the ship can carry 2,980 passengers, plus 1,150 crew members. The itinerary for the cruise includes our afternoon departure day, a day at sea, a day in Nassau, and a day at Freeport before returning again to Port Canaveral. Here's a few rapid-fire facts about the ship. There are 2 pools, 6 hot tubs, and a water park for the kids. There are 11 places to get food on the ship, including the 2 main dining rooms, 11 different bars and lounges, a sporting recreation deck, a casino, a library, a spa, a gym, an adult-only relaxation area, multiple youth and family activity areas, and the main theater. This ship is obviously not new. It has plenty of quirks and shows its age, but it doesn't bother me too much for a cruise this short. The boat has a mix of families and childless couples with an energetic but not overwhelming atmosphere. If you're looking for Party Central, this definitely isn't it, but it's not quiet either. This week, Jordan and I are staying in an interior room on the Lido deck, which I booked about 2 weeks before the cruise departure. We were placed in an accessibility room, which meant a little extra bedroom space and a lot larger bathroom. Every time our room was serviced, we got a new towel animal, which is a cute touch. The closet has plenty of room for our clothes and suitcases, but there was only one American power outlet in the room for phone charging. There were a couple more outlets, but they required European plugs, which we didn't have adapters for. And while I don't love the lack of windows in the room, the price was reasonable compared to the other room types, and I enjoy not needing to take the elevator to get to the pools and restaurants that are on this floor. Though, to be fair, I didn't get to choose our deck ahead of time. It was just a nice surprise. All of the Carnival Glory's itineraries for the next couple of years stop somewhere in the Bahamas, including here at Nassau. In fact, the next journey that doesn't involve the Bahamas is a transatlantic journey in 2026 to coincide with dry docking ship maintenance in Spain. Until then, you'll likely be stopping at Nassau, Freeport, the newly opened Celebration Key, or a combination of them. Nassau was a nice town, and I really enjoyed the Pirate Museum and walking through the town. The port is right in the city, so it's an easily walkable area, including to a nearby beach. But because of the popularity of this port for multiple cruise lines, the city is pretty tourist-focused. Freeport was not as exciting since the port is far from the actual town of Freeport. If you choose to just walk off the ship, the port area is simply populated with touristy shops and no beach. The excursions were out of our price range, so we rented a car on our own and drove 30 minutes to Lucaya National Park to see some underground bat caves and walk across the street to the calm and quiet Gold Rock Beach. Carnival's Celebration Key just opened in July of 2025 and is Carnival's first privately owned destination port, but that hadn't quite opened yet when we cruised. We did drive past the construction entrance road since it's on the same island as Freeport and not too far down the road from the Lucaya National Park, so the caves might still be possible as an excursion when stopping here. Plus, every cruise comes with a day at sea in addition to the afternoon departure day, which was nice to just chill, but not my favorite. I know most cruise companies do it to make more money with onboard purchases, but I know this boat can travel fast enough that a day at sea was unnecessary for our itinerary, and I'd rather have another day at port. Now let's get down to the full cost breakout, which was more complicated than I was expecting. There are simple upfront things like the base fare of the cruise, required fees, and taxes, which make up the face value of the cruise cost, the transportation to and from the port, which I drove my own car from Alabama, and the cost of parking at the port. Then there are some harder things to realize you're spending money on. Carnival does make it really easy to charge money on your room, so you don't always know how much things cost unless you're paying close attention. We didn't pay for any photos, souvenirs, or premium food options like the steakhouse, so my other costs included a very small amount of gambling, automatically added gratuities calculated per person based on your type of room and the length of your cruise, additional tips to the staff, and alcoholic beverages. The tipping is adjustable by talking to the onboard customer service desk, but this is highly discouraged unless you experience unsatisfactory service. The alcohol cost personally hurt the most because Jordan was pregnant, so that was all my doing, and I didn't have that many drinks. Alternatively, they have a drink package which gets you up to 15 drinks per day. That would have cost $70 per day per person, and it must be purchased for the entire cruise length. And if one person gets it, it must also be added for all adults 21 and over that stay in your room. That obviously didn't make sense for my situation, but it might be worth it if everyone in your room plans to drink a lot. We got off the boat at both ports. At Nassau, we had the cost of lunch and drinks, plus the Pirate Museum. In Freeport, we had the entry fee for the national park, plus the rental car, which was expensive, but still much cheaper than the regular excursion price to the caves. Plus, we also got lunch and filled the gas tank. Lastly, on the way to the cruise, we crashed at Brian's house in Orlando, but on the drive home, we stayed the night at a hotel near St. Augustine. Adding in all our food and snacks getting to and from Port Canaveral, and that brings our grand total up to a whopping $2,123, more than 2.5 times the face value cost of our cruise. I knew there would be extra costs, but I didn't expect there to be this many. If you're traveling by plane, you might see significantly higher costs from airfare and port shuttles than what I paid to drive down. Personally, I wouldn't fly for a cruise that's this short. But if you're on a tight budget, there are definitely areas where you can tighten up the spending much more than I did, especially with costs in the ports, food, and drinks. So, was it worth it? For me, yes. I got to relax for a few days, disconnect from real life, and enjoy some sun. And getting to briefly visit a new country was a plus for me. While I thought it would be cheaper, I now have a much better understanding of how many additional costs there are to cruising. Many of the costs were optional and in my control, like alcohol and experiences at ports, but these are all part of what I wanted to do during the cruise, so I would expect these costs to be present to my future cruises as well. The overall experience was a fun introduction to cruises for me, and it will really help me decide whether future cruises are worth it or not. And I hope sharing my full cost breakdown helps you as well. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about my experience. And that's everything the Carnival Glory ship has to offer. Thanks for coming on the tour with me, and I hope this helps you decide what to do for your next vacation. I'm Ryan, and I don't know where I'm headed next, but I hope you'll come with me. See you in the next video.